Hi, I'm Bridget, and thank you so much for joining me today for day 3 of 30 minutes of 10-minute yoga. So we're going to get started today in our tabletop for cat-cow. So making your way onto the hands and the knees, we're going to stack the shoulders above the wrists, the hip points above the knees, press down into the tops of the feet, flatten out through the spine. And on an inhale, we're going to curl the tailbone up, drop through the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades together, maybe looking forward. And exhale, we curl the tailbone under, round through the spine, and drop through the head. Moving with the breath, inhale, we find our cow pose. Exhale to our cat pose. So moving with the breath, really nice and slowly. Warming up the spine here before we move through our practice. You can really slow it down here. And we'll take one more round of breath and then make our way back into our tabletop. From here, we're going to make our way to our downward facing dog. So walk the hands forward an inch or two. We're going to curl the toes under, press to lift the knees and press the hip points towards the top back corner of the room. So pedaling out the feet when you get there. Give the knees a nice generous bend so that you can really press the chest towards the tops of the thighs. And breathe into the backs of the legs. So finding a little bit of movement here, reaching through the arms, and then we'll find stillness for a breath. When you get there, on an inhale, we're going to look forward between the hands, bend the knees, and go for a nice slow walk up towards the top edge of our mat. Find your forward fold. So give those knees a nice generous bend again here. We draw the belly down towards the tops of the thighs. Relax through the head and the neck, maybe giving it a little shake. And then on an inhale, we're going to find our halfway lift. So again, trace the hands up the front of the legs, hinging from the hips. We flatten out through the spine. And exhale, we round it forward. We're going to walk the feet a little bit closer here. So bring the big toes together, a little bit of space between the heels. We're going to draw the belly all the way down to the tops of the thighs. So squishing out that space there, flattening out. We're going to swim the arms back, reaching towards the back edge of our mat, and then open up into our chair pose. So starting to lift the chest, we sink the hips back. Find your chair pose. Again, really flattening out through the spine. So if you feel like you've got that rounding through the spine, you can just bring your hands to the belly and the lower back and just see if you can curl that tailbone under so that we're really nice and flat through the spine. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. And then from here, we're going to find our high lunge. So we're going to see if we can lift that left foot away from the mat and step it back into our lunge. So take your time, moving really slowly. We step that left foot back. Inhale, we reach the arms up, high lunge. We've got a nice generous bend into that right knee. See if you can stack the right knee above the right heel. You can bring a nice little bend into that back knee as well, just to release a little bit of pressure in the lower back. So tucking the tailbone under slightly here, we find the breath. Firing up through the legs. And then on our next exhale, we're going to find a twist. So we're going to send the left hand forward and the right hand back. Keep that nice bend into your right knee. We find our twist. On an inhale, we make our way back to our high lunge, so reaching up towards the sky, and exhale to our warrior two. So pivot on that back left foot. We're going to turn the outside edge of that left foot parallel with the short edge of our mat. Reaching out with the arms, drop the shoulders away from the ears. And then on our exhale, we're going to cartwheel the arms down to frame that right foot. We're going to step the right foot back to meet the left in our plank pose. And on an exhale, we'll lower all the way down to the belly. So you can keep the knees lifted here or lower them down. And we make our way all the way down onto the belly to find our cobra, our heart opener. So pressing into the palms, we press to lift the chest away from our mat, send it forward. Find the breath. And then exhale to lower. Again, you can either press up into your tabletop or up through plank, and we'll make our way back to our downward facing dog. So finding a little bit of movement when you get there, pedal the feet, really pressing through the arms, press the chest back. And then we'll take that same little flow on the other side. So inhale, we look forward between the hands, bend the knees. We go for that nice slow walk up towards the top of our mat. Find your forward fold. Round through the head. And then on an inhale, we find our halfway lift. Trace the hands up the front of the legs, flatten out through the spine. And exhale, we round it forward. We'll walk the toes together, a little bit of space between the heels. We find our chair pose. So sink the belly down towards the tops of the thighs. See if you can squish all of that space out between the belly and the thighs. We really want to sink the belly down. Send the hips back. We bring the hands back around, reach towards the back edge of our mat. Find your chair pose. Check in with the spine here. So bring the hand to the belly and the lower back. Slight tuck of the tailbone. You should start to feel those legs warming up here. Find the breath. And then we'll take that flow on the other side. So let's see if we can start to lift that right foot away from the mat. And we step it back into our high lunge. Reach the hands up towards the sky. Nice bend into that left knee. Find the breath. Legs should be starting to get really nice and warm here. I'm starting to feel a little bit of shake. If you're feeling a little bit of a shake, that's cool too. On our exhale, we're going to find our twist. So we'll send the right hand forward, the left hand goes back. Keep that nice bend into that left knee. Stay with the breath. You might even like to turn to look back at that left hand. And then inhale, we come back to our high lunge, and exhale, find your warrior two. So pivot on that right foot, turn that outside edge of that right foot parallel with the short edge of your mat. We bring the hands to reach to either side, looking out past those left fingertips. Nice bend into that left knee. And then we'll cartwheel the hands down to frame that left foot. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Find your plank pose. Take a nice deep breath here. And then either dropping the knees or stay in your plank, we lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, find your heart open, press into the palms. Lift the chest. Squeezing the shoulder blades back. And then exhale, we bring the chest back down to the mat and we'll make our way into our child's pose. So we'll find our wide-legged child's pose. So let's bring the big toes together, the knees as wide as our yoga mat, and then sink the hips back down towards the heels and reaching nice and long with the arms. You can let the forehead rest on your mat here. Go for a little rock from side to side. Find the breath here. Breathing deeply. Nice opening through the hips and the inner legs here. Nice release through the spine. Opening through the shoulders. So we're still nice and active here in our child's pose. And then when you're ready, we'll come back up onto the hands and the knees. Walk the knees back underneath the hips. We'll cross one heel over the other, make our way back through seated, and then come all the way back to lie down. When you get there, we're going to just keep the knees bent. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall apart. You can bring the arms to either side. Take a moment here in your Supta Baddha Konasana, our reclined butterfly. Letting the breath begin to slow down. Closing down the eyes or just softening the gaze here. Starting to relax through the body. You can stay here for a little while longer if you would like. Otherwise, we'll make our way to our Shavasana, so sending the legs out long. We've got the hands by the sides, palms facing up. Relaxing through the shoulders. Relaxing the muscles of the face, the eyebrows, the eyelids. Relaxing through the jaw. Just enjoying this moment of stillness after our practice. And you can stay in your Shavasana for as long as feels right for you. Otherwise, when you're ready, we'll start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Rock the head from side to side. And then bending into the knees and roll onto one side. When you're ready, we'll make our way up to seated. And just finding a comfortable seated position that feels right for you. And we'll take one last nice deep breath together to close our practice here today. So inhaling the hands up and overhead, we bring the palms together. Exhale, bringing the hands down to heart space, we bow through the head. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.